Good evening, everybody, and welcome back. We are into our next game, and we're going to be following the German side of Crew2k as they are in the third round of tonight's Champions Club. We watched Crew2k last week for Go to LOL, and they were doing brilliantly with a particular champion combo. I'm not going to say the names right now as we are in Champion Select already. In case anybody's watching the stream, I don't want to give away what they were up to. So, taking a look at the lineups at the moment, Crew2k are on the left-hand side. They will be wearing the blue trunks in today's game. And of course, on the right side, in the red trunks, I have no idea who they're facing. We have just jumped straight into the match. We'll pull the tournament ladder up in just a second. And for the bans and picks, Ergot and Lee Sin are the first two bans. They have been removed from the pool. Shen, the follow-up ban from Sabi and the rest of Crew2k. And once again, nothing too out of the ordinary. You don't see Lee Sin banned too often. But of course, if you know, or if you look at somebody's match history and you can see they've got a lot of victories with Lee Sin in ranked games, for example, you know it could be a targeted pick, and it's a very difficult jungler to get away from. Ari being followed up, so that's 3 for 3 for Ari so far. She's been removed from the pool once more. And we only have 2 more bans remaining before we go to start locking in the champions. Dr. Mundo being removed, and I like seeing that. Dr. Mundo is a particularly, really strong jungler, and transitions from the jungle to the lane fight or to the team fight, the mid game, in such a powerful way. He's also one of the very few champions that can build entirely durability items. It focuses almost entirely on hit points and armor based items, for example, and it increases his damage so significantly because of the way his skill set works. So I definitely think there's going to be a nerf bat coming for that champion, or at least some form of balancing. It's just very difficult to deal with. Morgana, the final ban, and once again, that's very common. Morgana's Dark Bindings, if you get hit by that Dark Binding in the mid-game, it's a guaranteed kill. The range is immense, the snare duration is really good, and the damage is really good as well. So not only is it, a root that locks you in place, it chunks off your hit points. So the first lock-in for Crew2k is going to be Max Fidelity. No, it's going to be Nocturne, and Max Fidelity has locked him in. So that's obviously going to be a knock in the jungle. And I like Nocturne in the jungle. I really like paranoia ganks. I really like the aggression that can come out from those dives. And we're going to see Janna this time round. We haven't seen Janna for a little while. Janna was banned a lot in Go for LOL last weekend. A lot of games in the Champions Select. They just didn't want to deal with all that disruption. The slow, the knock-up, the knock-back. And Deathlove hovering over Jarvan for a second. And I really like to see that right now. The Dragon Strike, Demacian Standard, and his ultimate, I think it's called Cataclysm. So much damage, and I'd really like to see how he's going to play this Jarvan. For anybody that's watched the on-game net League of Legends competition from Korea recently, Jarvan was played as a burst DPS champion. They built him in a very aggressive way, played him in the top lane, and the amount of damage that comes out with Jarvan's passive, and you build a few armor shred items, it's very effective. So I carry and Lance, they've locked in Tarot Graves for the bot lane. That's very simple to see. Dazzle, Shatter, Buckshot, collateral damage, and it's just insta kill, insta damage. Really strong and difficult to deal with. And we see Jax once again. So Jax featuring in another game this time round, and Siva as well. So Jaxonator has locked in Siva. And that's going to be a Siva and Janna bot lane. I think that's going to be very interesting because Siva's going to need to time that spell shield of hers. It's going to negate at least one of the spells. It can prevent the stun. It can prevent the buckshot. The timing is going to be so key to that. The individual timing of when she opts to use that ability, because the dazzle can be blocked, the buckshot can be blocked, or the collateral damage can be blocked. And it's going to come down to whether or not whoever's playing Siva can actually pull that off. And we do see Kennen and Lulu being selected, and I really like the look of that. That's a very strong combination. Lulu probably in the mid lane. Kennen's going to go top. Lulu and Nocturne synergize so fantastically well. It's very similar to watching the likes of a Galio Nocturne gank, whereby the mid champion will try to lock somebody up, but what will happen is Nocturne's going to dive in with Paranoia, and the second that you hear that damage, that connection, Lulu's immediately going to pop her ultimate onto Noc. It's going to make him larger, knock up the enemy player. Lulu is then going to pop, I think it's called Help Picks, which will throw up the damage shield, give a movement speed buff, and obviously apply bonus damage. The combination is really, really great. Opting to be countered by the likes of a Twisted Fate. So we've got two fairly mobile champions in the game. It's going to be Twisted Fate in the mid, and it's going to be Nocturne from the jungle. And both of whom can dive great distances to set up ganks and try to pick up some kills. I want to quickly double check the name of that ability from Lulu. I believe it was, there we go, Help Picks, jumps to an enemy, there we go. Yeah, so cast a shield him, gives them a speed boost, and that's definitely going to be a Lulu in the mid against Twisted Fate, and it's going to be Kenan on top versus Jax. And I think that's going to be an interesting lane as well, because at the early levels, Kenan has an advantage. He's got the range, he's got the stuns, he's going to be able to put some harass down. But once Jax starts putting a few points into his on-hit abilities, his leap strike, he's going to be able to outburst Kenan. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see whether or not Sabi's going to be able to pick up an early game advantage against Pashul on Jax. And bottom lane, again, we've mentioned this already, that the spell shield from Siva is so critical, and the timing on that. So I'm going to pull up the ladder while we're waiting right now. Let's do a quick refresh. And I think it's going to be Crew2k, and this is an all-German affair this time round. Crew2k against #1, and it's Elite Basher 1, sorry. And Crew2k, their full name is actually Crew2k, Team Completely Legendary of Completely Awesomeness. And interestingly enough, last week in the Champions Club actually lost to Browerim. So I played quite a few games. We've actually covered Crew2k previously and had a lot of fun watching them. Their Kenan Vladimir combo is particularly good. Elite Bashers #1 is the opposing side, and they've also played in several cups, been around for a long time as well. Go for all 73. So they've been hanging around for quite a while. And of course we are into the waiting time, so 1 minute left. I'm going to be throwing up a commercial in the background, guys. While that is playing, we are almost into the next round, round number 3 of today's Champions Club. Crew2k facing off against, what was it, no, it wasn't completely legendary. My memory is terrible. Crew2k against Elite Bashers. There we go. Elite Bashers versus Crew2k. So, commercial, and we'll be right back. So, welcome back everybody, and to those of you that didn't have a ad blocker, sorry for the moment of silence. 20 seconds left on the clock, and I want to see where the skins go. Skins really want to see which skins Kenan's rocking out. I'm a big fan. Kenan is my favorite champion. And of course, Champions Club, it's all about the bragging rights, guys. If you have a team, if you have some friends, if you've got a ranked 5v5 squad, why not get yourself signed up? Head over to esl.eu and just look for Champions Club. You can find that as well as a whole bunch of other cups, actually. I think I can link it a little bit later on chat. For the time being, though, we are waiting for this game to load, and oh my god, we've got some epic skins from Crew2k. The Halloween Nocturne. I think it's Spooky Nocturne. Mafia Graves. Keep an eye on the volume, guys. I might crank up the game sounds just for the audio effect for Mafia Graves. They've added in a shell bouncing. With every bullet, there's that bang, and you actually hear the shell bouncing on the floor. It's really cool. And of course, Arctic Ops Kenan, he wants to be a COD player. He wants to throw up that camo. So I'm expecting Kenan top lane to have an early advantage against Jax. And I think if Kenan can start converting it, it's going to help when Jax starts to scale, when Jax starts to ramp up and get that ultimate, pick up a few items as well, and then be able to stick to Kenan a little bit more effectively. Janna Siva on the bot lane. Janna's going to be a very good counter initiation or a counter a counter to the initiators of Graves Tarek, because if the stun does come out and Graves is moving forward, a well-placed Howling Gale might be enough to actually save. Let's get my overlays back up. Sorry guys, the keyboard shortcuts for overlays, they don't work in LoL since the last XSplit patch. So anyways, if Jan is able to land some good Howling Gales or throw out the Monsoon at the right time, it may actually be enough to stop the initiation and stop that huge burst that's going to come down, or at the very least delay it. And that is, of course, maybe something that is going to be a determining factor in this bot lane. And keep a very, very close eye on those spell shields. See which ability actually does get stopped. And now we're going to see who's moving forward. Katami's going to get straight into a Dazzle. Not even needed, really. And Dazzle was used, but Kennen picks up first blood. And that sucks. That really, really sucks. You know, your eyes are somewhere else. You're looking somewhere else on the map. And you just get nommed by a 5-man Crew2k side. So Kennen with first blood, he should be able to pick up a amplifying tome, almost, or maybe just going to save up a little bit further. And once again, internet problems plaguing the players. That's one more player that's disconnected, hasn't been hanging around, unfortunately. Janna hopefully can get back in time, because Siva's going to have a tough enough time with that Tarek Graves bot lane. We've got a recall from Jax, which is quite interesting. I expect to buy another potion, so let's have a look. Got 3 at the moment. Just going to wait till... There we go. Just wait a few seconds, and he'll pick up the 4th potion and then head to lane. Lulu moving forward, put 1 point into the Glitter Lance. And the damage is pretty good on those lower levels. And yeah, for Mareep, you're 100% right. There's very, very big competitions going on at the minute, but this is my practice. This is my training stage. Until I'm the caster for those tournaments, I need to make sure I can actually bump up my skill level, bump up my ability to cast. And that's why I'm here. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for stopping by, actually. It would be fantastic if you guys could just provide some feedback or, constructive criticism. It's really, really welcome. You can jump onto my Facebook page, facebook.com/quickshot. That's QU1KSH0T. Or if you're a Redditor, there is a Reddit thread. Any feedback is welcome, guys. I'm learning, I'm practicing, I'm training. And it's with your guys' feedback that I'll improve. So unfortunately, Janna is trying super, super hard to get back into this game. It's about the 3rd or the 4th time that Jacksonate has been trying to get back in. And it just seems that the internet is not being very nice to her today. So Nacon, running around with Lulu, manages to land the Glitter Lance. The slower the Glitter Lance is pretty effective as well. At level 1, hit by slowing enemies by 80%, and then it obviously degrades the longer that it stays on. And Sivir on the bot lane, having to pop flash, just heal, just to stay alive. They're taking so much damage from Graves and Tarek. Graves opting to go for a pure attack damage page for the most part. Very, very little armor pen. There goes the stun. Shatter goes out. No buckshot. There goes the dive from Lance Butters. I think buckshot may have been on cooldown. I just missed that. In the top lane, we've got pressure as well. The stun lands. Nocturne's going to come up. Does manage to land the Duskbringer. That's going to pull him forward, but opting not to take turret damage. Too low level. We do have Nacon coming up, and Jax almost face checks that bush. I mean, why would you think that? There goes the Ghost. Diving all the way forward. Getting out of range of Lulu. Bottom turret is now being pressured thanks to a 2v1, and it's so annoying to lose a lane just because a teammate has internet problems. So going back into his middle lane at the moment, Twisted Fate opting to put 2 points into his wild cards, 2 points into pick a card, and I'm not a particularly good Twisted Fate player. My pick a card abilities always suck. I can never predict when it's going to be right. He does move forward, does land a very good stun, and then the wild cards as well. But the Glitter Lance damage as well as the help picks. It's not a skill shot help picks. You just select your target and bang, the damage is dealt. And there goes in a very aggressive Twisted Fate. Flash Ignite and the wild cards. The shield comes up from Nacon. And I don't think Twisted Fate had enough ability power for that really to work. But almost. It was almost enough. Get some mana back with those blue cards. And now Janna has reconnected. But it doesn't look like for very long, and it looks as though another disconnect is happening. So here comes Max Fideli's move forward, spell shields up. So even if Katana uses it, it's not going to stun him by. He used What a smart play from Katani, opting to use the wild cards to break the spell shield. And once the spell shield had been broken, then landed the stun. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough because the Duskbringer was on, even if Twisted Fate was going to keep running. The bonus movement speed that he picks up, 20% at this level, was always going to be enough for Nocturne to catch. So we're going to follow Nocturne as he moves into this top lane. Jax knows something's coming. Duskbringer just misses, and a very, very smart Jax immediately leap strikes, lands the stun. Fear does go off, though, unfortunately for Pash. Does manage to get away by the skin of his teeth, just as Nocturne was taking so much turret hits, so much turret damage. 3-0 the score. Unfortunately, Sivir on the bot lane has been zoned so hard. 12 creeps to the 32, a level behind. Really out of range in the top lane now. Jax is Kennen is diving on the top lane, putting some decent damage down. One more auto attack from Sabi would have been enough to pick up the kill. But I think just very, very worried of those hits from Jax. And I think, oh, while all that's going on, we got a very aggressive dive here on the bottom lane. Collateral damage, not even available. So was it probably a Dazzle Shatter combo? Most likely. Or maybe not even in range for Shatter. And yeah, unfortunately, Tarek Graves really just stomping their authority on the bottom lane. Free farming. They can push when they want. They can do whatever they want because they are facing a no support lane. Middle lane down. I'm going to keep an eye on this Katani because that was such good play when Nocturne came up to gank. Having the forethought, having the awareness that if I use my what's his cards? I just said the name a few seconds ago. Wild cards. Toss out the wild card. There we go. That'll be enough to break the spell shield, and then he can apply the slow. And there's the damage coming out from Lulu. She just moves forwards, throws the glitter lance out, and then puts a help picks. And on the bottom lane, we got another kill going down. This time it was onto Jarvan. Jarvan coming in to try and help in the lane. A level 1 Janna. That's going to be very difficult to deal with. Boomerang Blade deals decent damage. Now Twisted Fate. He's going to teleport in the bottom lane. Wildcards goes down, but the collateral damage from Graves is more than enough to take him out. Graves is still alive. The Boomerang might be enough, but unfortunately, I think the dead Sivir means the damage doesn't get applied. And somehow, Graves survives through all of that. Compliments of the Summoner heal. That was what kept him alive. That was what saved him against the wild card from Twisted Fate. And I thought for a second that Nocturne may have been able to cancel it, but didn't manage to stay close enough for long enough to get the fear proc. And now, Kennen, level 5. 3 points into the Lightning Shuriken. Thundering Shuriken, rather. 1 point into Electrical Surge, and almost, there we go, just dinged for Slicing Maelstrom. Item-wise, already sitting on a Hextech Revolver, and Jax is just about close enough to pick up his Merc Trades. Nothing more than that, unfortunately. 29 CS to 37. It's a small lead, but it's not incredibly noticeable at this point in time. Katani's moving forward. He dodges the Glitter Lance, so doesn't get slow to take any of the damage. He picks maxing out Glitter Lance, or at least leveling it fairly. Glitter Lance and Help Picks is the two damaging abilities. On an enemy, managing to land for 170 damage at this point at level 2. That's pretty good. It's a pretty good base value. Lulu, of course, doesn't scale all that well into the late game, but then she transitions from being, sort of a bursty mage at the early game to mid game, to being a slightly more utility support DPS type of champion. And that ultimate of hers is just so powerful. Bottom lane once again picking up a kill on the low level Janna. I think let's focus on this bottom lane now. Graves, double Dorns and the BF sword, and a huge amount of attack damage from his masteries and runes. So that keeps him in there. There goes the stun, dazzle, buckshot, collateral damage, and they almost blow up a full health Jarvan. And that's a Jarvan with armor as well. 84 points of armor. In the top lane now, Jax is moving forward. Paranoia used in the mid lane, and there goes Paranoia at the Paranoia dive into Wild Growth. Immediately knocks Twisted Fate up. The Help Picks gets thrown onto max fidelity. There goes the shield wearing off. And it's just such a powerful ganking combination in lane. Very good Thundering Shuriken from Kennen. Just as Jax is moving forward. Now if Sabi wants to commit for a fight, Ignite and Slicing Maelstrom, it's going to be enough to pick up a kill. So let's see if she wants to pick this fight under the turret. Twisted Fate has come back. He does have his Destiny ability up. Can teleport a huge distance on the map. 5,500 points at this stage in time. We've got pressure on the middle lane. Something's happening there. Nocturne's sitting up on the top and on the bottom lane. So I'm just going to keep an eye on these health bars and jump to the lane where I think there's going to be kills. Here we go on the top lane. Slicing Maelstrom. Nocturne's not even needed for that one. Bottom lane now. There goes the stun, shatter, buckshot. Siva gets completely melted, and that was without collateral damage. That was purely a buckshot shatter, and of course Tarek did throw his ultimate out there as well, so that's pretty huge damage. Of course it gives Graves additional attack damage as well, so that's just going to increase the burst that can go out for buckshot. 11-0 at the 10-minute mark. We've had a kill a minute, 10,000 gold, 9,000 gold the difference. And I just think that Crew2k are gonna keep stomping. I think they're gonna keep stomping, but I made a prediction earlier and I was wrong. So let's see whether or not the opposing German side can pick up a victory. Nikon now on Lulu moving forward has the blue buff, double Dorans and boots, and should be sitting on a fair chunk of gold, 1900 gold. So we'll have to see if she's going to go straight ability power, or maybe look at going a little bit more utility in the likes of a Rylai's Crystal Scepter or a similar type of build. Lulu mids, they're slightly more the, it's the unorthodox one. You don't see it too often. I know that there's a couple of teams in the US like to try, so they get a pretty good stun card into the wild cards. Now a brilliant Cataclysm there from Jarvan manages to lock out Lulu, but unfortunately the damage that Nocturne is putting out along with the wild growth, it's just too much to handle. Kept Lulu out of range, but it really didn't do much. Nocturne was just dealing so much damage. There's Lantern Hearts of Gold. In the bottom lane, we got pressure coming down. There comes the Shatter. Dazzle out it while collateral damage manages to pick up Janna. A flash forward plus exhaust. And then on the hunt from Siva, she's going to be using that to get away. Just so much burst from all of these champions. And just completely melting everybody. And that's the reason for the burst. Graves has gone a BF sword and then opt for a brutalizer. So he's going to be mitigating all of the armor that gets put up on the opposing side. Just melt through it. And of course, buckshot and collateral damage, they scale off physical damage. So it's just really good. So we do have a ward here for Crew2k. Sabi knows that Jax is coming. Lightning Rush, Leap Strike, stun from Jax, and very, very good damage. Jax does have Flash and Slicing Maelstrom. So we're going to have to see if Sabi's going to opt to use that. Maybe waiting for the turret, baiting push-up. You're going to have to see, there goes the Electrical Strike, and very smart from Jax, knowing that he's not going to be able to take a dive on that turret. In the bottom lane, though, there's been a bit of exchange back and forth. Siva and Janna taking some damage, applied some damage to Graves. Not enough to commit to a fight, though. And there comes the knock-up. Jarvan does manage to knock up Tarek. There's been a split. A very, very good quick draw from Graves. That pushes him away. TF is going to use Destiny, so that's going to put him in range of Tarek. They stun one another, and now all of a sudden it's a 4 versus 4. Lulu's coming in from the background. Jarvan's going to be the first one to fall. They're now applying the chase into Twisted Fate. He does have Dustbringer, so Nocturne's going to stay up as long as he can. Attention's going to go to Siva, and a huge, what a brilliant play from Nikon. Throws the help picks onto max fidelity, and then uses the Glitter Lance. Because Glitter Lance throws out 2 spells, one from her and one from Pix. And by having Pix up, take a look at iCarry. There goes the Glitter Lance, and once again, Nikon really showing how to play Lulu, really showing an understanding of that champion's abilities. Increasing the range by casting Glitter Lance on a friendly champion. Cannot say just how amazing it is to be able to have that forethought and be aware that you can pull that off. 17-0 now, 24,000 to 12,000. Probably going to now pick up the first dragon. They've just stolen blue buff, opting not to go for dragon for some reason. Now moving forward eventually. Wild growth being used on max fidelity, which seems very interesting to me. Nikon, the cooldown's 83 seconds, so it's a minute and 20 seconds. It's not too long. And of course, she is building cooldown reduction. So sitting on 24% thanks to Morella's Evil Tome. With the kills that she now has, that Lulu's probably going to be able to finish Sorcerer's Shoes. Or maybe, yeah, it was Sorc Shoes. So going for the Magic Pen as opposed to the CDR. And Kennen in the top lane going for the Zonya's Hourglass and what looks to be Merc Treads. That's what I would assume. Sitting on 169 gold, going to be a little bit away from that. 1,500, 1,600 gold required to finish both of those items. And such great coordination, such great play so far from Crew2k. Whether or not it's going to hold throughout the entire evening remains to be seen. So here comes Jack committing forward. He lands a Leap Strike and a stun. Takes quite a bit of damage in return though with the shurikens and the stun. Thundering shuriken to the face, followed up by an electrical surge. Locks Jack up for a few seconds. He's going to be able to get counter-attack back in just a moment. There comes the Paranoia, Slicing Maelstrom, and they just melt Jax. 1 or 2 auto attacks is, in that time frame, it was enough to take out Jax. Of course, he was at about 2/3 life. But really, really well played. Every time Paranoia is used, somebody dies. And there goes the help picks. Nikon's moving forward, committing Wild Growth on himself. And look at the damage. The Wild Growth in conjunction with Glitter Lance is enough to take out Twisted Fate under the tower. Deathlove moving forward with Jarvan. And look at that. One Glitter Lance slows him up for a few seconds. Keeps him back. Nikon wants more. Nikon's fighting. Help picks gets down. Another Glitter Lance. Followed up by a third. Was that a second or a third Glitter Lance? Help picks followed by Glitter Lance. And a full health Jarvan gets taken down to a third by a third health Nikon. Really, really good play. Graves not only not satisfied with having a Brutalizer, needs the Black Cleaver as well. 606 on Graves. 306 Nocturne. It's a 0-0-0 death side so far for 2K. And I think it's game. I think at 30,000 to 15,000 I can be secure enough making this prediction. If you look at the items wise, Siva 63 farm double Dorans to 120 farm Graves. Top lane 105 CS to 84, so not too much of a difference there. However, Zhonya's Hourglass as well as the Hextech Revolver. You're looking in the mid lane, Sork Shoes, Morelli's, double Dorans, and sitting on 1,000 gold, as opposed to just the double Doran. So iCarry now taking a lot of damage, eats a Twisted Fate stun to the face. Lance is now moving, collateral damage, gets forced back from Monsoon, picks up 1 kill during all of that, picks up a 2nd kill, and he is still not down. There's no lifesteal really from Graves, and so much damage. 209 base attack damage before applying the debuff of armor. The collateral damage in the buckshot currently hitting for 340 and call that 500 with how much penetration? Armor pen of 21 and then 10% compliments of the Brutalizer. And then of course the debuff of -15 per auto attack. So it's so powerful. It's going to be the first inhibitor of the game now. 17 minutes in, guys. They do lose a tower in exchange for the inhib, but I think that is a fair trade any day. And the Taric Graves combo, in conjunction with the disconnects from Janet, just too much to handle. So that's the first inhibitor down. Kennen is now pushing on this middle lane. And while all that's going on, Jax has been caught in the background. He has popped his ghost to move forward. Pick gets slowed by the Glitter Lance. Very nice juke. Leap strike backwards. The stun does get blocked. And a brilliant push forward. Nikon applies the slow. That's going to lock Pasha. But look how effective that is. A knockup unfortunately misses, as does the Dustbringer. Gets turned into a little critter. Another help picks gets thrown out. The Glitter Lance again slowing Jax. And look how powerful that slow is. It's effectively a root for half a second. For that initial DPS is enough just to lock somebody down. You know, just stop them long enough for you to close the gap. So not a single death for Crew2k so far. And it's difficult. It's so difficult when you're in the receiving position. Just losing every lane so badly. And it's something you've got to learn from. It's something that, as a player, it happens. You will always have these types of games. And you've literally, and there goes Kennen diving forward, slicing Maelstrom under the turret. The Ignite and the Zhonyas didn't even need to auto-attack further. It was enough to pick up the kill. Of course, he does have a full Zhonyas and the Hex deck and is sitting on 970 gold. So I would expect that to become Sorcerer Shoes at some point. Get some extra magic penetration, be able to deal a little bit more damage. Taric Kennen now moving forward. They're going to take out these creeps. Graves has moved up, and he has now picked up another BF sword. And look at the damage that's going down onto this turret. The stun does manage to stun Graves just for a few seconds, but it's just going to delay the inevitable. The turret is taken out, and look at that damage onto Janna. Paranoia dives forward along with the Umbra Blade's passive. That blows her up. Jax turns his attention to Graves, but he cannot take the damage. The armor penetration is just too high. Max Fidelity picks up another kill in the background, tanking the turrets for so long. They're going to lose a second inhibitor with the super creeps that are up. Are they going to be able to take out the Nexus before 20 minutes? Can they actually finish this game before a surrender vote is possible? They're turning their attention to the champions. It doesn't look like they're going to commit 28 seconds. They managed to pick up the kill with a Duskbringer in the fountain. Graves now turning his attention to, well, staying on the champions actually with that red buff. 20 seconds to kill the Nexus, and Janna, 4 auto attacks melted. 15 seconds. Lance Bratzes doesn't want to help me here. Come on, before 20 seconds, 5 seconds remaining. The fight is now going on. A cataclysm comes in. Jarvan just falling to his death on this left-hand side of screen. As Crew2k whitewash this game. Completely dominating performance and really, really well played. Special mention does have to go to that Lulu. The help picks in conjunction with the Glitter Lance combo was absolutely amazing. Really, really well played. There's the final scores. 11-0-11 Graves, 3-0-16 Tarek. You know, just it was a crush. It was completely crushed. So while we arrange our next game,